This official right here, she lied several times in front of camera to reporters when was asking a question, simple question. Guess what? She gave a very straightforward, simple answer, only to be found out that she was lying. That answer that she gave was a complete lie. We know they lie all the time, but let me play the video. That way you will know what happened. But before I do that, just to remind you, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you're one of them, consider subscribing to my channel. In the year of 2020 and all the way to 2024, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, he was convicted of federal firearm charges, felony charges, convicted 3 times. One occasion he was convicted of tax fraud. In 2024, this year of September, he was convicted of that offense. And this administration of Joe Biden, they said, and through this person, KG Pei, she said that Joe Biden is not going to forgive his son for what he did. Also, his son had connection with Ukraine. Take a listen.
The first question of the briefing, I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered.
I said no. No, he's not going to forgive. Are you crazy? No, that's not going to happen. There was one occasion when a report suggested that Joe Biden might be asking Donald Trump to forgive his son, Hunter Biden. But obviously that's not going to happen. Why? Because Joe Biden himself is forgiving his son. He actually just did. A few hours ago it was confirmed. We have seen also Joe Biden wearing MAGA cap. MAGA means Make America Great Again, of Donald Trump's campaign. Why? Well, and another report suggests that actually Joe Biden, he voted for Donald Trump. We do not know about that, but definitely when he was wearing that MAGA cap, he was trying to probably appeal to Donald Trump that, hey, look, in case I don't forgive, in case that is not possible for me, please forgive him because, hey, look, I am a supporter of yours. I don't hate you. I have nothing against you. And when Donald Trump visited, this is where it gets even more interesting. When Donald Trump visited Joe Biden at the White House after the election, Joe Biden was so happy. I don't have the photo right now, but he was so happy. He was so happy. And people took notice of that and they said, Joe Biden, why you are smiling? Why are you so happy today? I mean, it's not your guy. You should have been happy if Kamala won the election. But why are you happy? Why are you so elated saying Donald Trump? Well, guess what? It was because Joe Biden was preparing for the worst. That in case I don't have the opportunity or if I don't forgive my son, then I will tell Donald Trump, hey, Trump, please forgive my son. I think he was preparing for it all.
Doesn't pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear,
No.
and I said no.
Yeah, he's not going to forgive.
Get married.
But
Thanks, Green.
he did.
President Biden was familiar with what his son was going to say on Capitol Hill. If I called my dad and said, I am about to violate a congressional subpoena, he'd probably say, son, you shouldn't do that. Was there any attempt by President Biden to talk Hunter out of it today?
You're going to call your dad Steve?
Call him Dad, usually.
Look, I don't have anything else to add. The president was familiar with what Hunter was going to say today. Look, he's proud of his son. He and the First Lady are proud of his son, how he's rebuilding his life back. He's going to focus on what is needed on the American people. Hunter, and I've said this many times, is a private citizen. And so certainly I would have to refer you to his representatives. I'm just not going to get into private conversations because what you're asking me is actually a private conversation. I'm just not going to get into it.
First briefing since Hunter was indicted again in Los Angeles. Why doesn't President Biden just pardon him?
President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon his son.
And one more about these this Ukraine money for border policy negotiations. In the last 24 hours, 10,000 illegal border crossings, southwest border. Would you admit that the border policy, the Biden border policy so far has not worked?
What I will say is that we have known for decades, that the immigration policy is, the immigration system is broken. We've said that over and over again. That has been Republican administration and Democratic administration. That is not unheard of. That is what we have seen for the past couple of decades. The president has put forth a comprehensive immigration policy legislation on his first day to deal with this issue. Republicans refuse. They refuse to deal with this issue. It's been almost 3 years since he put forth that legislation. So we're going to do what we can do from here, but we have said this is something that needs to be dealt with in a bipartisan way, About 1,000 of these illegal border crossers every day are getting away to parts.
Biden's administration is a circus show. If you don't remember, they told the public just before the election that we gave Israel 30 days to allow humanitarian aid coming more into Gaza. If they don't follow that instruction, we will be putting a sanction on arms export to Israel. That's what he said, right? Then what happened? After 30 days, nothing. Israel actually banned UNRWA, the United Nations organization that is looking after the oppressed people of Palestine. But the point here is, guys, they are lying every time. The administration is lying. This lady, this press secretary, or whoever she is lying. These reporters are not getting their answers. What do we expect from Donald Trump? We'll see, and we'll talk more about Donald Trump when he comes to the office and appoints his own press secretary.
It's unknown in the U.S. Does the president think that is a national security risk?
Here's what I'll say. One of the ways that we also have to look at this is what congressional Republicans have refused to do. They refused to support previous requests from the president. What they've asked to do actually hurts the issue, hurts the problem that we're seeing at the border. It's clear. Okay. I do. I think the American people do.
For several weeks, the White House has said, had said multiple times that the president was not going to leave the race. He ultimately did. You've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
Still a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
No.
Thank you, Train.
He just did.
So, picking up on Zeke.
Yeah, sure.
For such a monumental decision, the president did address why he left the race.
Well, thank you.
But he left a lot of it for us to read between the lines. He did not make clear why he's leaving the race. Even in the excerpts that you bring up,
Yep.
he says that, the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. Is he saying it's because he was too old? In another one, he said that it was for the sake of democracy. Well, that does not answer why he thought he was in the way of democracy.
I mean,
It is because he was lying. He's a senile man. It is not about passing the torch to a new generation. It was because this guy is old. He doesn't know what he talks about. He doesn't remember what he said 1 minute ago. He doesn't remember the name of those people who was visiting him. The head of states, he doesn't remember nothing. He forgets probably even his own wife.
Did he
I
make
mean,
this
look, a
decision?
new generation, and he also said the next sentence was to unite. It's also to unite the nation. Putin's aggression, and that's what I'm going to speak to. Okay.
Thanks, Karina. I have 2 questions on pardons. The first, does the president intend to pardon any administration officials or people that Trump has threatened with any sort of legal actions? He's got 74 days, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I know pardons is going to be a big part of the questions that I get here over the next several weeks and couple of months that we have. I don't have anything to share or any thought process on pardons. Once we have something to share, we certainly will share that.
Secondly,
But you did say the president pardoned his son, and now you're changing your statement again? Wow.
his son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
No.
You mentioned 2 MOUs.
Yeah.
Can you give us a flavor of what might be subsequent MOUs that might be coming up?
I was talking about the transition and how that there's two MOUs that are related to the Transition Act, Transition Presidential Act, and that's what I was speaking to. I don't have anything else beyond that. This is part of the Transition Presidential Act, and that's what I was speaking of. I just wanted to make sure that there was an understanding that there's two MOUs. I don't have anything beyond that. Okay.
Is the president still?
Thank you, Corinne. Did President Biden invite Vice President Harris to this meeting with Donald Trump tomorrow?
This is a meeting with the president and the president-elect. This is the norm, that the incoming president and the current president sit down in the Oval Office and have a discussion, and that's what you're going to see tomorrow, is the norm, what we normally would see when we are talking about a peaceful transition of power.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
And we know that at some point...
This is so embarrassing. Donald Trump will pardon his son, and Joe Biden will be begging him, please forgive him in case I don't have the memory to remember about my son.
In the last Trump transition, then President Obama warned Trump that the biggest threat to the U.S. at the time was North Korea. Is President Biden going to run through what he sees the biggest threats to the country are with Donald Trump?
I am not going to get into a specific agenda of what they're going to discuss. And this is very much to the question that I got from MJ. What does the president what's the message he wants to send tomorrow? And it is to the American people. The importance of keeping the norms, the importance of having a transition that is going to be efficient. This is what the American people deserve, and that's the message. And I think when you all come into the Oval Office tomorrow, you do the pool spray, you capture that moment, that is an important message to send to the American people. That's what the president cares about. I'm not going to get into details about any conversation or agenda.
And we know that today, a week after the election, President Biden and Vice President Harris had a private lunch. How awkward was that?
I don't even understand. Why would it be awkward?
Because the president got squeezed out for her, and then she kept him at arm's length, and then she lost, and now she's back.
Why would you characterize it as awkward? They have regular lunches. They meet and talk regularly. Why would you call it
awkward?
Weirdness about the way that things have unfolded.
Did you see them? Did you see them together yesterday as well, when they honored our veterans and were together during the day, making sure that we didn't forget the brave men and women that fought for this country? Did you see them together yesterday? Did you see?
Yeah, but that is for the state. That is for the government to honor the veteran. It is not for a public show. You have to do it. But then why would you have lunch with the woman who just lost, Kamala Harris, and just a few days after the election? This is awkward. This is obviously awkward. I mean, are they celebrating the loss in the election? I mean, these people, the Democrats, they lie all the time, and their mouthpiece, they also lie. Corinne is a very good example. This lady, this press secretary.
The show of force together. This is, look, I'm not even going to take the premise of the question. What I will say is the president and the vice president had lunch together.
Okay, yeah, they have lunch together. Nothing is awkward about this. I think it is awkward because, again, she lost it. And what will happen with Trump administration? Well, same thing. His people will lie, and we are going to call them out, just like we did with Anthony Blinken, Jack Sullivan, Matthew Miller, Priti Patel from UK. We'll be calling them out one by one, guys. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the next